Hey guys, good morning and welcome to my first video. My name is Dante, I'm a fitness enthusiast, an artist and a book writer, and today I will show you my progress from the first year of training and a step-by-step guide for the basics necessary to achieve the same result. So without further ado, let's begin. Over the past 10 years, I've been losing weight and gaining weight and losing weight and gaining weight more times than I can remember. So I decided to create a YouTube channel just to document what consistency looks like if I never give up and I go hard at it for the next 3, 5, 10 or 100 years. So how did I start? First of all, you have to find your ideal body weight. Go to Google and write, what is the ideal body weight for sex, age, height? What is the ideal body weight for a man that's 31 years old and that's 180? Google is going to tell you something like 85 kilograms, and it's a good point to start because you don't want to start calculating your macronutrients with your current weight, because your current weight is probably overweight or underweight, and that means that you're not going to be able to get to the point where you're supposed to get, which is a healthy point. That was number one. Number two is find the daily recommended macronutrients intake for your body weight, for your purpose. So for example, first I started by bulking. So for protein, I found out that you need 1.4 grams per kilogram when you're bulking. You don't need more. For fats, you need 0.9 grams per kilogram. And for carbohydrates, I just multiply my carbs by 1.5 or 1.7, the daily protein intake. So let's do a basic calculation. I was 93 when I started, but I was calculating my macronutrients for someone who is 85 kilograms because that was the healthy weight for me. So 85 kilograms times 1.4 grams of protein per kilogram leads us to 120 grams of protein per day. Now when it comes to fats, 85 kilograms multiplied by 0.9 leads to 77 grams of fats per day. And lastly, when it comes to carbs, you have 120 grams of protein times 1.5, that leads you to 180 grams of carbohydrates per day. So these were my starting macronutrients for my journey. It was already the middle of November. It was too late for me to make plans to look like a photo model by the middle of the summer. So the way I understand it is you have 4 months to bulk, October, November, December, January, and you have 4 months to cut, February, March, April, May. So by 1st of June, July, August, September, you can maintain. So you can look good during the summer. You don't take weight, you don't lose weight, you just look good during the summer. But for me, it was already too late. I was already on the 15th of November. So I decided not to make any plans for this year. I went straight into a bulk that lasted from the 15th of November until the 20th of March. Now, the kind of training that I did was, in the beginning, I did an upper-lower split. And the more I invested into equipment, the more opportunities I had to train differently. So eventually, I went from upper-lower to strength push, strength pull, strength legs, hypertrophy push, hypertrophy pull. I didn't do hypertrophy legs because I have problems with my legs. If you're looking to start training but you don't know how or when, check out my TikTok right here. You have 169 days of training, Monday to Friday, upper lower, high intensity interval training, upper lower weekend. And eventually when I got more weights and more equipment, I changed to a strength push, strength pull, strength legs, hypertrophy push, hypertrophy pull. Now during this bulk, I kept increasing the carbs in order to make sure that I can push the weights that I had. But I noticed something that I'd like to let you know, and this is very important, so you might want to write this down. I measured myself using a measuring tape, and I measured the biceps, the chest, the thighs, and the waist. And it's very important to measure yourself like this because you can keep eating food and you can keep increasing your weight on the scale, but you have to know when to stop eating. And the way you know when to stop eating is by using a measuring tape. So when you see a disproportionate increase of body fat on your arms, chest, thighs, and your waist, you know that's supposed to be the end point of your bulk, or you're supposed to stay on your calories until the end of your bulk and just try to push. What do I mean by that? I mean that for the first 2-3 months of the bulk, my biceps, chest, thighs, and waist increased similarly in size. But at a certain point, maybe in the last month of the bulk, I noticed a bigger increase in my waist size as opposed to my biceps, chest, and thighs. This was a signal that my body couldn't keep up with the food that I was giving it. Think of it like this: Bob the Builder. Bob the Builder uses 25 bricks per day to build a house, but you go and you give him 30. What do you think is going to happen with the last 5? They're probably going to be put somewhere safe so they can be used at a later time. That's safe place is the adipose tissue. That safe place is stored energy as fat. So during a bulk, I weigh myself 2 times per week and I measure myself 2 times per week. So you use these two together, the scale and the measuring tape, in order to make sure that you gain as little fat as possible, because eventually you're going to have to cut this fat in the future. You don't want to be spending extra months working to cut away the fat that you gained on a bulk, because it's going to be really difficult. Trust me, I've been through this, and this is where the next point leads. What happens when you get to the end of the bulk? So let's do a little recap. You found your ideal body weight. You calculated your macronutrients. You increased your carbs when it was necessary for you to keep pushing weights. You noticed at a certain point that while measuring your body, you've gained more body fat in your waist than you gained in your biceps, chest, and thighs. So you said, okay, let's stay here for a while, or let's finish the bulk, because there's no point to gain more fat that I'm going to have to fight hard to cut it later. So now you're saying, okay, it's the 1st of February, or in my case, the 20th of March. Let's see, how can I lose all of this fat while keeping as much muscle mass as possible? Cutting has to do with 4 things. The most important one is calories in, calories out. Eventually on a cut, you're gonna have to take out 100 calories per week, maybe 200 calories per week, depending on what your goal is. For me, the best thing was to take a slice of bread out from my last meal and to weigh myself 3 times per week and make sure that I'm losing weight every time I get on the scale. When the scale stopped moving, I would remove another slice of bread, or I would remove 1 scoop of oats, or I would remove 30 grams of potatoes, or I would remove 50 grams of rice from one of my meals. The idea is you're trying to remove carbohydrates slowly but surely. When I say slowly but surely, I want you to understand that you're not going to remove every week a slice of bread from your food. You are not a robot. These are not rules. These are guidelines. You take a slice of bread out and you weigh yourself 3 times per week and you measure yourself 3 times per week, and only when the scale stops moving do you take another slice of bread out. This is for the beginning, because in the end, there's going to be a point where the scale is going to stop moving, but you're not taking food out of your diet. First, because the scale does not tell the truth all the time, and that's why you're using the measuring tape to make sure that even though the scale is not going down, you're still losing millimeters and centimeters here and there. And only when you notice that after 1 week the scale didn't go down and the measuring tape says that you haven't lost centimeters or millimeters, that's when you can keep cutting calories, if you still have calories to cut. This is very important. Make sure you don't go into a dangerous level of eating lower than 0.5 grams of fats per kilogram, lower than 130 grams of carbohydrates per day, and lower than, I would say, 1 gram of protein per kilogram. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you don't even need to start with cutting calories first. So I'm a food person. I love eating. And the first thing that I do when it comes to cutting is I just increase my daily steps. 10,000 steps per day is equal to 500 kilocalories burned. You do 10,000 per day, that's 3,500 kilocalories burned per week. Do you understand what an impressive hack this is? You just do 10,000 steps per day and that's 3,500 kilocalories burned per week. That's amazing. That's incredible. And you didn't even need to take away food from your mouth. So you could be eating the same way you were eating at the end of your bulk, but you just increase your steps from maybe 5,000 per day to 10,000 per day. Boom, you're starting to lose body fat. And you don't need to stop there. You can increase to 11,000 steps per day. Slowly but surely, you don't want to rush into cutting too much too fast and shocking your body or hurting yourself. You want to do this slowly but surely. You're in the long run, you're in the marathon, you're you against you. You're not you against your neighbor. There's no benefits to being better than someone else. There's benefits being better than your past self. So you're going to increase slowly but surely your steps until you get to about 15,000 steps per day. And maybe then you're gonna start cutting food. Third would be cheat meals. Cheat meals have no place in a diet. If you were a little bit more free before, now on a cut, the idea is you can have maybe in the first 1 or 2 months 1 cheat meal per month, but you will get to a point where, and listen to me carefully, you will get to a point where you're going to eat a cheat meal and you're gonna stay at that body weight for 2 weeks. Trust me when I say this. I was 94 kilograms, I had a single big burger, and I stayed at 94 kilograms for 2 weeks until my body started lowering its body weight again. Trust me, I did this mistake twice, and I'm repeating myself because I really want to drill it into your head. Don't do this mistake, okay? Small tip, once you get to that 85, 82 or 80 kilograms body weight, it's a little bit harder to gain weight in the way you can gain when you're 95 or 100 kilograms. Trust me, I got away with a lot of stuff when I was 82 kilograms than when I was 95. I could eat a cheat meal and I didn't feel it when I was 82 kilograms, but if I ate the same cheat meal when I was 95 while cutting, it was a disaster. So for me, cutting looked like this. First, I would increase my daily steps. I don't want to take away food. I love food. Everybody loves food. So I would go from 7,000 steps to 8,000 steps per week. Next week, I would go to 9,000 steps. Next week, I would go to 10,000 steps. But then I would increase my steps by 1,000 every 2 weeks because I was overweight. I had problems when I was walking because there was a lot of mass on my feet, and walking so many steps can put a lot of stress on your Achilles tendon, on your soles. Once I got to 15,000 steps per day, that's when I started cutting a slice of bread from my last meal. Generally, I started by cutting carbohydrates, but I also cut from 0.9 grams per kilogram of fats down to 0.5 grams per kilogram of fats. Because remember, you have to cut the fats too. Not lower than 0.5 grams per kilogram, so you don't have problems with your hormones, but you have to cut them too because there's extra calories, and the fats have the most calories per gram out of all the macronutrients, 9 calories per gram. My last 2 points are: make sure you don't have anything in your system other than coffee and water. No juices, no sweeteners, no sugar, no stevia, no nothing. Nothing, just black coffee, espresso, and water. That's it. And my second point is regarding training while cutting. Make sure you don't lower your weights, you lower your reps. It's very important to give your muscle the stimulus necessary to maintain its size and strength by using the same weights that you are using while cutting, but by lowering the reps so you don't injure yourself. If you lower your kilograms from 12 kilograms lateral shoulder raise to 10 kilograms, but you're doing more reps, you're basically telling your body that there's no need for you to be as strong as you were, because it's not about the reps you do, it's about the weights you lift. So lifting 12 kilograms requires your body to have a bigger strength than lifting 10 kilograms. And you didn't work so hard on your bulk to lose everything right now. So just cut your reps by 1 or 2. So me, for example, I used to do 12 kilograms, 3 sets, 5 reps on a bulk. And then I used to do 12 kilograms, 3 sets, 3 or 4 reps on a cut because I literally couldn't lift the weights anymore. But I managed to maintain my strength all through the cut. And now when I went back into a bulk this year, which we'll talk about in another video, and I can't wait, it was like I didn't have to start all over again because I didn't have to go from 10 to 12 again. I was already at 12. All I had to do was eat a little bit more, gain back some strength, and start pushing bigger and bigger weights. And that, my friends, is how I did a bulk and a cut in 1 year. I already started year 2 of training. I am about to finish week 1 of month 3, and I look forward to where this journey is going to take me. Thank you very much for joining today's video, and I really look forward to having you by my side and growing together, pun intended, and see where this journey leads. Thank you very much for today, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.